Welcome to another episode of Roll Up a Poet. So get your blunts rolled and your drink poured. All right, now look, this one gonna be about when you they friends, they ain't your friends. All right. So look, right. What I'm gonna do for this is I'm gonna use myself as an example, and after I give y'all the scenarios, then I'm gonna go ahead and give you my thought and what happened behind this. All right. So first incident, one of my homies, you know what I'm saying? One of my day one homies. I've been knowing him since he was like 5, 6 years old. You know what I'm saying? When got in our teenage years, he was a couple of years younger than me. So if I was like 18, he was like 15. You know what I'm saying? And with my generation of the crew that I hung with, we all was the same age. So when I turned 18, everybody in my crew turned 18 at the same time. And we all got our first cars at that same time. You know what I'm saying? So we all had our first whips at 18. He was the only one in the crew that was 15. And of course, he didn't have a whip because he was 15. You know what I'm saying? Well, a couple months later, I ended up buying a second car, right? And I stopped driving my first car. I was just always driving the second car. So what I did was I told the homie, I'm like, mind you, he's still 15. I'm like, look, man, I'm going to throw you my first whip. You could just ride that around. You know what I'm saying? I trusted him with it. So, boom, I threw him the whip. You know what I'm saying? He taught himself how to drive. I wasn't hounding him about it. It wasn't no he had to bring it back every day and none of that. He was taking it home. It was like his car because I wasn't driving it. You know what I'm saying? And he one of my little homies. You feel me? So I had him. Well, he had that car for like 2 months. You know what I'm saying? He learned how to drive. He got around everywhere, did everything he needed to do, stacked him up some money, all that good shit, right? He was good at this point, you know what I'm saying? Now, his daddy was in prison, so he was with me and the homies real tough, for like that structure, you feel me? So that was my payback to him, for being a part of the squad. Like, here you go, boom, you know what I'm saying? Well, after he got himself straight, I sold that first car, right? And he went and bought him a car. So now he good. At this point, he like 16. You know what I'm saying? He didn't stack his money up, did what he learned how to drive. He did everything he needed to do. So now he bought him a whip, took off from there. All right. So now this like 10 to 12 years later, I'm out of prison. I'm fucked up. I needed somewhere to stay. I come to the same guy. He up at this point. You know what I'm saying? He got him a crib that he chilling in. Then he got a whole nother house that he basically renovating. You know what I'm saying? Getting ready to rent it out and shit, right? So I'm fucked up. I hit him up. I'm like, bro, I need somewhere to live. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm fucked up. This still my day one homie, every day, all of that. You know what I'm saying? Not just when I felt like it or when he felt like we was every day. You know what I'm saying? Even all the way up until this point, we every day. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm like, I need somewhere to stay. He ain't had no kids or none of that. He was just living by himself. I'm like, let me get a room, for like a couple of months so I can stack my money up with the whoop and I'll be up out of there. The nigga spent me and told me he had to talk to his girl about it. Now, his girl was an older chick and she had her own crib, you know what I'm saying? But she used to come over his house because, that's her boyfriend. So, of course, she gonna come over. He tried to throw that on me, talking about he got to ask her and shit. So, basically, that shit never happened. And, months later, after all of that, he ended up throwing me in that house that he was renovating. And when he threw me in that house, basically he gutted the whole house out except one room. There was just one room in there that ain't been gutted out, but the rest of the house was gutted out. And he had, the hot water tank the appliances and shit like that in the basement. You know what I'm saying? He didn't take that stuff out because he needed it for the workers, to do what they was gonna do while they, redoing the house and shit, you know. So he left that stuff in there. With him leaving that in there, he needed somebody to watch their house. So he ended up moving me into that house. You know what I'm saying? I lived in that room that wasn't touched, that one little room. You know what I'm saying? Okay. That's one scenario. I'm going to come back to that. You know, another scenario. My homeboy, Ace Boogie. You know what I'm saying? He was another day one. You know what I'm saying? We grew up from the bottom. Always had his back. Always was there for him. You know what I'm saying? This my homie. We got pictures together. All that shit. Day one. You feel me? Fast forward the tape. I always had his back. No matter what, he was my brother. That's just what it was. You feel me? We did everything together. All of that. You know what I'm saying? Well, fast forward the tape. Here it is. This was a few years ago. This was like 2019. You know what I'm saying? I had used his name. I got pulled over one time for a driving ticket. And I know if I would have used my name, I would have went to jail. So I used his name, right? Well, I used this nigga name, and they came back to him. And, he went to court. He told them that I used his name. He snitched on me. You know what I'm saying? When all he had to do was say he didn't know who it was because it wasn't him. And they was just going to throw it out, which they did anyway. But he also told him, like, yeah, it wasn't me. It was him. So he tried to get me jammed up. You know what I'm saying? I had to cut him off. That's another scenario. Here go another one. I told y'all about this before, this was my homie from way back when, you know what I'm saying? And basically, we hooked back up later on in life, you know what I'm saying? He became my barber and all this shit. He was my dog, which I thought, you know what I'm saying? Well, he cut my hair, you know what I'm saying? I'm coming to him every week. His cuts was $25. I'm throwing him $50. You know what I'm saying? Just on the love. So that's $200 a month. I'm throwing to him just on cuts. And I got braids, you know what I'm saying? So this is just a lineup, you feel me? All he had to do was just line me up. $50 a week. You know what I'm saying? Well, time came, I needed him. Well, let me bag it up. Before I even needed him, I didn't say nothing to him, He had hit a little lick, came across $10,000, right? The nigga took a picture of the money and sent it to me. So he sent it. I'm like, shit, since you got it like that. I'm like, let me hold 200. 200 out of 10 bands. The nigga left me on red, unfollowed me on Facebook, ain't heard from him ever since. And this was last summer, you know what I'm saying? So this coming up on a year. I still ain't heard from him, you know what I'm saying? Mind you, not only was he my dog, but he was my barber too. So, just go to show you, man. Those three scenarios I just gave y'all just go to show you that I was their friend, but they wasn't my friend. While it was beneficial for them, you know what I'm saying? When it was time for me to ask for what I needed, they didn't have my best interest. So, what my whole point of this is that you could be somebody's friend and they won't be your friend. So you got to be careful with who you labeling as your friends, because a lot of people, sometimes they want to see you do bad. You know what I'm saying? They want to see you go down, And with all of these guys, these was my homies, from day one. and they all turned their back on me in some type of way. Like I said with the first homie, with Shine. You know what I'm saying? When he had put me in that basically a bando, because the whole house was gutted out except that one room. You know what I'm saying? He only put me in there to be security for that house, so that wouldn't nobody steal the appliances that was in there. You know what I'm saying? And when he basically had everything, gutted out and ready to do what he wanted to do to gut out that last room that I was in, that's when he came and put me out. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, look, I don't got nowhere to go. You know what I'm saying? This is where the fuck I'm at to go. So let me come move in with you, at your spot where we be fucking the hoes at and all of that type of shit. The nigga would not move me there to that house. I had to go live in a garage. Right here in the guy. I went to go live in a garage. I had to go move into my baby mama's grandparents' garage because they wouldn't let me live in the house. So they said I could have a garage. He had a pickup truck. He helped me move my stuff to their garage. Yeah. And mind you, this is my homie. I was the first one that threw him a whip. You know what I'm saying? I threw him a whip, a whole car. Like, he could have crashed my shit. He could have got it took, anything. You know what I'm saying? But this my homie. So I came through with the play and I did for him. You know what I'm saying? And then years later when I needed him, this how he did me. He dropped me off to a garage. I'm like, hey, get it how you get it, Well, it was all cool anyway. Because I came back and I confronted him. You know what I'm saying? I let the shit go at the time because really I didn't have a means for running my mouth. You know what I'm saying? I just had to be humble. So I just did what it had to do at that time. But I got myself together, a couple years later. I popped back up, and he was trying to be all buddy and shit. And, I had to check his ass about that. And, we ain't been the same since, But that's just how it is, Some people, like I said, you will be their friends, but they won't be your friend, And Shine, he displayed that to me, And then Ace Boogie, he did the same thing. He turned around and snitched on me, you know what I'm saying? We came from the streets. The street code was you never tell on nobody about nothing. You know what I'm saying? Now look, me using his name, yeah, that wasn't the right thing to do or whatever. But in the hood, that was the type of shit we did to save each other from going to jail. You know what I'm saying? We just deal with the homie in the hood later about the shit. But all the homie got to do is just go to court and say it wasn't him. You know what I'm saying? Because they could roll back them body cameras and shit, and they could see that it wasn't him that they pulled over. He just so happened to use somebody else's name. Nah, that's on the cop to go back to their car and pull up the man picture and make sure it's him and all of that if somebody used somebody's name. But those cops didn't do that. So I got away with using his name. So when you went to court and they pulled out the camera footage, of course they showed that it wasn't him. They got pulled over. It was me. I just used his name. You know what I'm saying? So case dismissed. And he was just done with it. That's all it had to be. But he went that extra step and he told on me. You know what I'm saying? How did I know that he told on me? Well, I was in jail when he went to court. I had to do 90 days in jail. When I got out of jail, the very next day I got out, the damn police department from the place that gave me that ticket, they called me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't pick up because it was the police. I don't talk to the police. You know what I'm saying? So they left me a voicemail. Now, this was a city that I never even been in. So I never got no tickets out that city or nothing. So they don't know who I am. So how is it that they calling me talking about they want some information out of me about a ticket and all of this shit? I put two and two together. I was like, my man snitched on me. You know what I'm saying? So I called him. I'm like, bro, you snitched on me? You know what I'm saying? Man, you could tell like he was fucked up that I called him. He was like, man, it wasn't even like that, but I had to give him your name. Woo, woo. I'm like, nigga, no, you don't. You know what I'm saying? All that time I done did in the system, I know how this shit go. Like, nah, nigga, you went down there and snitched, Had to cut him off. Another time when I was his friend and he wasn't my friend, I did nothing but the most for him. I looked out for him, even in the hood, probably like 10 years previous to that shit. You know what I'm saying? One of our homies got smoked. And we know who smoked our homie. He ain't gonna tell on the nigga that smoked our homie. You know what I'm saying? But he told on me about a driving ticket. And I'm his man's. Like, I didn't save this nigga life, all type of shit. I made this nigga who he was. I gave him a name on the block and everything. Niggas ain't even respect him. You know what I'm saying? I gave this nigga a name and everything. You know what I'm saying? Real nigga shit. And then the time that I needed him, he turned around and snitched on me. When I was his friend, but he wasn't my friend. You know what I'm saying? Then the last guy, Quentin. Same again. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't a part of my crew, but he used to be on the block with me and my niggas all the time. You know what I'm saying? He was from the same hood, but he was from a different clique. You know what I'm saying? But he used to fuck with me and my guys all the time. Like, me and him got real close like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was just always around because, we went to school together and shit like that. Like I said, we all knew each other. We was just different sets and shit like that, And it was just kind of weird that the set that he was from, he was on my block with me and my niggas. Me and my niggas, we didn't fuck with his set. Now, we wasn't beefing with his set, but we didn't fuck with them. You know what I'm saying? They didn't fuck with us. We didn't fuck with them, But he was the only nigga out there set that fucked with us. And he was on the block with us. You know what I'm saying? So we was cool as hell. It wasn't never no drama, none of that. You know what I'm saying? He just rocked with us, on some real nigga shit. So it just always was what it was, man. I remember one time, I went out with him. We went to a party, out in the suburbs he had going on, man. And there was a whole lot of women there, man. We had a good time. And we was like 17, 18 at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, me and him, we got memories, But anyway, this fast forward to tape. You know what I'm saying? This was just a year ago. This shit I'm talking about me and him did was 15 years ago. Now I'm talking about what just happened just last summer. You know what I'm saying? Me and him been mans for 15 plus years. And then he go ahead and upload a picture of 10 bands and send it to me. I didn't ask him about nothing about no money, no nothing. I ain't say nothing to him about nothing. You know what I'm saying? He was just feeling himself one day. He came across 10 bands and send me a picture of it. Okay, since you send me a bit, let me get $200. $200, not $2,000. You know what I'm saying? Not take me out to eat nowhere or, pay none of my bills or none of that shit. We boys, and you my barber. I give you $200 a month. You know what I'm saying? A month. $200 a month just for a lineup. You feel me? $200 a month just to line my shit up. $200 a month just to line that up. And then you turn around and hit a lick and you fucking up the picture to me, like stunting on me or whatever you was on. And I ask you for $200, you leave me on red and unfriend me and everything. Stop fucking with me and all. Mind you was my barber. You know what I'm saying? So now you done lost all that money, nigga, friendship and everything. Another example of I was his friend, but he wasn't my friend. Y'all got to be cautious of the people that you deal with. They'll smile in your face, throw up gang signs with you, yop, 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 all of that. But when you really need them, they'll stump your ass in the ground. It's a thing called street loyalty, but in all honesty and reality, there's no loyalty behind it. It's basically just benefit out the time and the situation, and then when that time is up, be up. That's how this street shit work. All of those situations I named y'all was from the streets. Guys that I grew up with since little bitty niggas. Not no niggas I just met a year or two ago since we was little bitty ass boys. I watched these guys grow up in the men. They watched me grow up in the men. And this is what they did in the end. When you they friend, but they ain't your friend. It's been another episode of Roll Up a Poet. So get your blunts rolled and your drink